Sunbeam. I welcome you all back to the show where we delve deep into the minds of people who shape our day to day lives. I am your host Samriddhi and I welcome you back to the show. Today we have Colonel Vinay Kumar Biala with us for today's podcast. Sir commissioned in Bihar Regiment from IMA Dehradun, June 1976 and served for nearly 3 decades. Sir was an administrative commandant in Rajasthan, officer on special duty, Raw Cabinet Secretariat, New Delhi. Sir has also been second in command for Bihar Regiment and was also the commanding officer for NCC unit in BHU Varanasi and Mughalsarai. Jai Hind, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
I seek your permission to start the podcast.
Yes, you can.
The topic for today's podcast is the future of Indian Army, challenges and opportunities that are faced. So, we have 3 segments in our podcast. The first, we will talk about you. Secondly, on our topic, which is the future of Indian Army. And lastly, a few general frequently asked questions. Sir, you have contributed a lot for the development and grooming of cadets in NCC. So, can you share some experience and how can we motivate today's cadets for the same?
You see, if you talk about motivating them through NCC, I would like to give my own example. Years back, I was a cadet of NCC. Somebody like you, behaving like a mentor to me, said, "Why don't you join army?" I said, "Should I?" And through NCC, they got my form filled. And my first attempt, I became an officer. Before my 20th birthday, I was in Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, which is a highly creditable thing. Nowadays, young boys and girls, they cross their teens, they reach in their 20s, and they're still looking for a profession. And Army is such organization. If you get motivated, if you have self-motivation, you can make a class of yourself. And motivation doesn't have to come from someone. Motivation has to come from within. If you can motivate yourself and be guided by your own thoughts, you'll do very well in your life.
So you said that you were an NCC cadet in your time. So if you see the difference, what would you say? How has the NCC changed from the past decades? And how do you think what emerging trends can come in the future and what is presently going on? What do you think is the differences?
You see, earlier days, NCC was just a pastime. One joined NCC for getting a refreshment or for going to the camp and enjoying. Nowadays, NCC is a career. That's the gross difference. If you excel, you can become. My own cadets are officers in Army and Air Force. So, if you wanting to make it a career, like NCC has A certificate, B certificate, C certificate. There's a entry in academy, C certificate entry. If you have passed to C certificate, what boys do, they take NCC, but they do not culminate into the final thing. Excel, obtain C certificate with minimum B grading, and then there's a platform for you to join army. And if you've done well, army is the only profession in India, in government job I'm talking about,
Yes.
where you get to become an officer at the youngest age. You apply for civil services, you do law, you do medical, you do. By the time you get a job, you are 25, 26. Army is a profession. If you get through first or second attempt, by 2021 you are an officer. So it is. Many of us, we do not know, and we do not aspire. All those who aspire, they will get it.
Mostly about what you feel that you can do it and believing on ourselves.
That is, you got to believe in yourself.
The most important thing.
That's very important.
And sir, can you share your background and what inspired you to join the Indian Army? Was it your own self or like more people encouraged you?
That's a very good question. It's a very good question. Maybe I was made that way. You will be surprised to know, when I was in 8th standard, 9th standard, when you write names on your books, I used to write Captain V.K. Biala. I used to address myself when I was just 17, 16-year-old. as Captain VK Biala. So my friends used to laugh at me. What do you think yourself? You'll become an army officer. You write on every book. That was the motivation that I had.
Prove them wrong.
I always thought I'm born to be army officer. And that is why just about 18 and a half I cleared my SSB. So what I said, motivation has to come from within. From within. And if you are not self-motivated, nobody can motivate you.
Because it's ultimately our own choice that we have to go.
You got to make a choice.
And it's a good decision or the bad decision. That is what.
But one must take a right decision. And especially talking about the Sunbeam group of schools, I am part of it. I keep coming and delivering talks and talking to them. Boys and girls, the talent is there. And most of them are motivated by the institution and by themselves also. And that's why they are doing well. If your institution also motivates you and guides you to do well, and if you are from within also guided, then there's no chance that you will ever be a failure.
Sir, talking about motivation, there are definitely challenges that we face whenever we are trying to do something new or trying to learn something. So what are some of the significant challenges you faced during your training period, and how did you overcome them?
You see, when I joined academy, cadets come from different streams of life, mostly come from Sainik school. All those who come from Sainik school, they are made soldiers right from the age of 6th or 7th years of age, on 8 years of age. And me joining academy after doing graduation, and I was a student leader, I was a kind of toughie in my college days. So for me to go through that physical rigorous of the academy was a challenge. The training of Indian Military Academy and National Defence Academy is physical rigorous. If you are physically not tough, you cannot do that training. I was a sportsman of average caliber. But there in academy, you need to be an extremely physically tough guy. So that was initially when I joined. So that was there. But then as the training schedule itself makes you tough. Yeah.
So if we talk about you have to be tough. So what would you recommend to the students who want to go in the military? Would you ask them start from right now or wait for a specific age to start?
There's no specific age. If you've thought of joining army, if you have dreamt of being in uniform, and I must tell you, it is a very big pride. It's a very big pride for you and for your parents to see you in uniform, and uniform of an officer's class. It makes you feel. Means when I joined academy and when I came on my first holidays, I had not become an officer. I was still a cadet. But everybody in my friend circle wanted to see me in my uniform. See, so if you have made up your mind, if you think, I must join army, like I did. I was, 8th, 9th standard, I used to try captain, so and so. Two aspects are there. Preparing yourself for the interview, you got to be very knowledgeable, very, very knowledgeable. And then the physical aspect. You got to be physically very tough. Because the army, if you go through this stream, you clear your written examination conducted by UPSC. That's a pure academic. If your academics is good, you will clear your this thing. Then you are assigned to go through the SSB, Service Selection Board interview, which has different segments. They have a GTO task, outdoor task. They have a group discussion. They have a lecturate. They have a president interview. They have an IQ test. IQ test is very elaborate, psychological test, verbal, non-verbal, syntax, all these things. So if you think of, let me be an army officer. I want to make my parents very proud that I prepare. Keep yourself physically very fit. Don't be lethargic. In any case, you should not be lethargic in your life. You should never be lethargic. You should be very fit physically. If you're very fit physically, you will be very fit mentally. And talking about the IQ test, keep reading, keep solving puzzles. IQ books you get. Very interesting. I right from 8th till I joined army, in my summer vacations, I used to only solve IQ tests. And I used to find them very interesting. 2, 4, 6, 8, what next? Those kind of things. Odd out, even out. So these things. Then physically and play a game, play sports. And then your general knowledge. Even at this age of mine, my peer group calls me a moving encyclopedia. When I was in 8th, 9th, 10th standard, I used to spend rigorously every day 1 hour in the public library. When I went and appeared for my SSB, the last day is president's interview. President is the president of the board, who is a colonel oblique brigadier. He conducts one-to-one interview. And he can ask you any question. You're sitting in front of him. He can ask you any question under the sun. And he expects to know. My experience, my interview went on for 1 hour, 40 minutes. And there was not one word, one question which I didn't know. My president asked me, son, at this age, how do you know so much? Those days, there was no TV. There was no national newspapers. But you have to inculcate in yourself. मुझे पढ़ना है. Academics, I have to study. Other than academics also, I was a debater. I was a national level debater. You can only become debater to speak publicly. There are a couple of things. You got to have knowledge. You have to have a command over the language. You got to have the self-confidence. There is confidence you will have only when you have a knowledge. If you don't have the subject knowledge, you can't have confidence. You will be shaky. And these two things combined make you command over the expression, command over the language. I always say, when I'm called upon to visit school and college, I tell these young boys and girls, inculcate these habits. These things will make you, if you do not join army, if you do not join, maybe you are a business family, but even there you will excel. And you will be identified by the crowd in which you live as an odd man out. Otherwise, a businessman's son joins his school and then he is aiming to sit on his father's gaddi. If he is a routine fellow, nobody will give him respect. So you got to, whether you want to join army, whether you want to join a government job, whether you want to do anything, but these qualities in self will make you a fantastic human.
Also, they don't have to be too complex. Like, we just have to practice daily, then they'll get inculcated.
Yes. If you do not have these qualities, you will suffer from inferiority complex. And that will doom you.
In any sector, either it be the military or even a normal job. These are like necessary things that we require. Sir, I also wanted to ask a few questions which was on the second segment, which is on our topic, which is the future of Indian Army. Because at the end of the day, the youth is what is going to take whatever is in the future. So can you share your thoughts? I already asked a question sort of related to this, but still, how has Indian Army in general evolved over the decades? And what do you think the youth should practice so that they can do it better in the future?
See, the first segment was before joining army that I elaborated upon.
Yes.
Second is, you see, I must tell you the very outset, army is not a routine job. If you think it is not 10 to 5 daftar jaane wala job, your 24 hours job. Army has different segments. Army has fighting forces, like infantry, like artillery, the armored corps. They are the one who fight. And infantry is the one which fights and gets killed. Then there are services. Like if a boy has done engineering, he can go to Corps of Engineers. He can go to Corps of Signals. He can go to EME. These are the branches. So army gives you wide variety of scope to join and excel. What you ask me is, if after one has joined army, if God willing a boy has done well, he should try to excel in his profession. What way he can excel? If he is an infantry officer, he should always be ready to. Infantry is basically a job to fight. We are taught in very first day, shoot to kill. We are taught to kill your enemy and win a war. How can you win a war? By remaining in quilt? By remaining in blankets? No. You should learn to leave, even if it is minus 20 degree. You should learn to leave your quilt and blanket at 5 o'clock in the morning. Go out, be with the soldiers, play with them, do your physical work, and if required, lead operations personally.
Ready for whatever moment.
Yes,
Can happen.
I have my friends, knowingly that they'll be killed, they got killed. I still remember them. It is not easy to motivate yourself to get killed. But that's what the army is all about.
The resilience is required.
Supreme confidence and supreme sacrifice. Who can do it? Nobody can do it. When you go to attack enemy, when you are called to attack an enemy position, enemy has made defenses. He has laid mines, explosive mines. He has laid wires. He is firing upon you, and yet you go and attack, knowing that you will get killed. I have read that later even in your Sunbeam school. Vijayan Thapar, young boy, 22 years age, told by his boss that evening you will go and attack that feature. We in army, when we go for operations, we are asked to write a letter, because that may be your last letter of your life. So everybody is told to write a letter to his parents, wife, whosoever. This boy was unmarried, wrote a letter to his parents. Must show those letters. At the age of 22 years, the boy writes to his parents, Mom and Dad, it is on Google, one can go through. Means I'm talking about the motivation part. At the age of 22, he writes, before going for the operation, he writes, Mom and Dad, by the time you get this letter, I'll be shining like a star up in the company of Apsaras. I'll not be there in this world. And it's a long letter, 1 page later. And last line he writes, Mom and Dad, it is morning, 12 o'clock. He's not gone for the operation. But he is so sure of death. If I tell any young boy, do this task, you will be killed. Will you go? Nobody will go. It is the army. It is the army. That's what makes the difference. And that boy went for the operation. Last line he wrote, Mama, if I ever am born again, I'll be a soldier and you will be my parents. That boy died. At night, he died in the operation. He got Mahavir Chakra. I expect today's youth to have that kind of self-motivation, confidence and dedication, which generally we lack.
Unless we... So it is all about resilience at the end of the day. And whatever we want to do, it's about the passion that we feel. So we celebrate Armed Forces Flag Day on 7th December every year. So for the viewers to know, could you share its significance with us?
You see, after our independence, after finishing their formalities of governance, in 1949, Ministry of Defense, somebody thought of having some kind of welfare measures for soldiers. So there was a committee formed that time, Defense Secretary and Defense Minister. And it was decided to 7 December. I have gone through Google, but I have not been able to know as to why 7 December. Like 15 December is Army Day. Significance of Army Day is that first Indian Army Chief took over from Britishers, Field Marshal Cariappa. So we celebrate Army Day. But Flag Day, why 7 December, I have not been able to find. But 7 December has been assigned to be a Armed Forces Flag Day. See, what is the objective of Armed Forces Flag Day? It is basically, though it is given to collect funds for the welfare of soldiers, for the welfare of widows, for the welfare of handicapped soldiers, or the families of martyrs. to collect funds. But in my way of thinking, it is basically to express your gratitude to the armed forces. Like Sunbeam being a elite school is talking about Armed Forces Flag Day. I wonder 90% of us in India do not even know what is Armed Forces Flag Day and when it is celebrated, why it is celebrated. We have not been able to find, bring those flags. Armed Forces Flag Day, there is a Kendriya Sainik Board at the level of Delhi center.
Yes.
And then there are Rajya Sainik Boards. Then Rajya Sainik Boards have district Sainik Boards. There, the flags, small flag, it is distributed and collected funds. There are car flags also, which are put in front of car. In fact, I will request the schools to collect it from, and you put it on your this thing, and you donate some money. The physical donation is also carried out. Then there are ways of online contribution also, and the contribution made on a larger scale is also exempted an income tax 80G or something. So Armed Forces Flag Day, the objective was basically to collect funds for soldiers and their families, plus to remember the sacrifices made by your defense forces. You see, ours is a political country, democracy. All the time politics, all the time politics. Army or armed forces are given little lesser weightage. Public doesn't know much about army. Public doesn't know much about even our basic rank structure. See, it is unfortunate. But one day has been assigned as a flag day to reclaim. In fact, we are having a talk here. There are institutions who carry out a small little plays also, street plays also, some functions also for the audience about the contributions made by defense forces. It is the day to remember your soldiers, your armed forces. Armed forces are the backbone of, politician may create any hue and cry, but it is ultimately the armed forces which will save this country.
They are at the first foot at the end of the day.
The day this country is doomed, it is the armed forces who will rescue this country.
Sir, like you said that there are funds collected and the batches and things. Is there like any specific celebration at specific places, and like is the public allowed to view it, or is it just for the military?
No, it is actually, it should be open to public. Public must know about Armed Forces Flag Day. But over a period of time, this event has got very diluted. And only at the government level, like Raj Bhavan, I have attended these couple of functions in Governor's House. Some Governor Saab and some IS officers, somebody will come and 10, 15 of them. They'll rotate around a box, putting money in that. Even by evening, tomorrow evening, you will also see on the TV, Rashtrapati ji putting some money in that, somebody going to Haran. But that is not the way. Society must be aware, made aware of this thing. Even I would request next year when you do it, organize a function. Theme Armed Forces.
Yes.
Theme Armed Forces. Armed Forces can motivate you to so much. Last year, Banaras Literary Festival took place. Yogendra Yadav, Paramveer Chakra, only living and surviving Paramveer Chakra in the country. Imagine that man got Paramveer Chakra at the age of 19. And Pakistanis left him dead. They thought they have been able to kill everybody, including him. They maro a kick on him, and they started shouting their victory slogan. This boy takes out a grenade and throws at them and fires a burst. And he is almost dead. See, these things must be known to the public. These things must be known. Like this podcast will be shown to the school and boys and girls. But such events must take place all over. All over.
We'll surely keep in mind for the function
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whenever possible,
Yeah.
because at the institution we get to know, but when it comes to the general public, people
General public
rarely
doesn't
they
know. They do not know. They do
Yes,
not
sir.
know.
Unless they're told by people, nobody
Nobody.
even cares to like search or know about it, research on their own. There are very rare people who
Very
actually
rare, very rare.
do that. And sir, like as we're talking about what people know, what people do not know, we also honor veterans on the Armed Forces
Yeah.
Flag Day. So, what steps are being taken to ensure that the contributions of our veterans are recognized and celebrated more effectively?
You see, there are ways of the government doing it. Government does it in a very minimal this thing. Veterans, they themselves organize themselves. But what I have been talking about, respect for not just a soldier, for veterans, it must be some system should be followed, some system like pay, perks and privileges if the government gives, and that too after a lot of hue and cry. In the government's scene, armed forces are not very big priority. No. Though we are the backbone,
Which is quite
we
a
are the savior of
disfortunate
this
thing.
nation. Something like even like a prime minister addresses nation on various occasions. He should address nation on Armed Forces Flag Day so that public would know if prime minister speaks on the television for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, then the public will get to know that there is something known as Armed Forces Flag Day also. No political leader, no Rashtrapati, no Pradhan Mantri ever speaks on Armed Forces Flag Day. Some functions take place. I was director NCC Patna. Twice I was invited to the Raj Bhavan. But very public must know. Media should be used to tell. Whole day TV speaks about election. But nothing about service to the veterans, armed forces.
And even like whatever they do with the widows of the martyrs, these things have to be known to the public.
They do not know. They do not know.
is,
It is army within. Like I have been GM of Sainik Kalyan Nigam here for many years. I took it as a dharma to help our soldiers' widows. It is my system because it is my motivation because I am a soldier. I must help my Jawan's wife. But this is not institutionalized. This is not by everybody. In fact, sometimes we get to know the police has misbehaved with the soldiers. Soldiers must get the highest respect in the society. They must get highest respect in the society, which is lacking, unfortunately, in this country.
Because the feeling has to be internalized. Nobody can even teach somebody. This is such a thing which has to be felt on our own.
It has to be felt.
That is like really.
Me feeling is because I'm a soldier, I must feel it. But others feeling, you feeling for an army person, he feeling for an army person, it is something extra.
And that is lacking quite.
Very, very lacking.
Lacking quite a lot. Like coming to like again to the general public. So like what would you like the younger generation to learn from the sacrifices and dedication of our armed forces?
See, I have been repeatedly saying, nobody going to tell them. They got to know about themselves. They got to know. In fact, there are hardly any books written on the bravery of our soldiers. Many years back when TV was very limited, there used to be a serial used to come, Paramveer Chakra. A serial used to come on Paramveer. All those fellows who have got Paramveer Chakra, on them the episodes, 1 to 13 episodes are made. Shah Rukh Khan started his career from that serial. I am a soldier. While watching those Paramveer Chakra, I used to cry every Sunday. I went to see this movie, Border. I cried. I'm a soldier myself. I shouldn't cry. But see, the sacrifices made by our fellows, public doesn't know. They do not know.
Without these sacrifices, technically the country cannot even survive if these sacrifices are not done.
Yeah. If I ask anybody, name 5 Paramvir Chakras of a country, nobody will know.
Nobody. Because we're not even trying to know about it. That's the thing. Even if we try, people try, they'll get to know. But and it's not even that we don't have the resources. We have mobiles, we have televisions, but there is nobody who's trying to do that.
In fact, I'm thinking of writing a book on Hamare Ran Bakure. What sacrifices our soldiers have made, public must know. It requires extreme courage to be in that war and kill the enemy. When you know one step wrong, you will be killed. There are many stories. Public must know, students must know.
There is always the and even in the soldier, there is always that lingering thought that we will not return, and their families.
I have mentioned about it later.
Yes, sir.
22-year-old boy, young officer, lieutenant, writes, Mama, by the time you get this letter, मैं इस दुनिया में नहीं रहूँगा. Can you write this? No.
So moving to the last segment, we have a few frequently asked questions which are like quite general. What had been your favorite subject during school?
My favorite subject, in fact, if you talk about, it is not related to academics. I was very keen on general knowledge, current affairs. As I said, my friends used to call me Chalta Firta Encyclopedia.
Yes, sir.
I developed this habit of reading and reading and reading. I did not want to excel by marks, that I will get 80%. I wanted to excel by my overall persona, which took me to army at the age of 18 and a half.
So you had a specific teacher whom you preferred the most, and why? Like your favorite teacher who had been during your school days.
I'm so lucky you asked me this question. I was in BA, though I wanted to join army, but I got into social activities of student life. I became a student leader. I was an orator. I was a debater. So I was deviating to various fields. Touchwood, my Guruji is 92 years old today. He's still alive. His name is Dr. Harshdev Singh. He called me in when I was in BA final. He said, दादागिरी करते हो, नेतागिरी करते हो, ये करते हो, वो करते हो, क्या मिलेगा? Join army. I said, okay sir, I'll join army. So he said, there's a camp going on for the eligible students. You go there. I got there. They carried out screening. I got. And the final interview, I cleared. It's very difficult to clear your SSP at the very first attempt. So even today, God gave him long life. He's 92 years old. I go and touch his feet. And he tells me, he says, tu badmash tha, but you joined army. And he was the one who's credited to me joining army at the age of 20. And I was college debate champion. I was this, I was that. But those are not giving you jobs, no? It is adding to your personality. But to get a job,
you have to be focused on one thing.
And he made me, first time he said, Tere mein, you have that quality to become an officer. I was tall, well built, I was sportsman, everything. He said, I was a debate champion in my college. He said, you should join army. And he sent me, he got my form filled. He was not sure that very first attempt I'll clear. His own brother-in-law, I was also my class fellow, and he filled up his form also. And he could never get through. So Dr. Harshdev Singh is the ex-principal of my college and very eminent educationist. He's still alive and I'm grateful to him.
So coming from, you said that you had the brother-in-law of your teacher, he could not pass. So what would you say, there are instances that people face when they fail in things. So what would you say? Should they start again, and how? Because there are people who go through that phase and they're not able to bounce back.
You see, for any profession that matter, for any profession, not only army, my personal thinking is, if you make sincere efforts, sincere efforts in a way, you're streamlined as to what is expected out of me. Like army, you got to clear a written exam. Written exam is not very tough. It is an average ICSE exam, math on essay and all that. If you're focused, you clear that. Then you go for the SSB, Service Selection Board interview. This is 5 days interview. 1 day is dedicated to psychological test. Psychological test has many subtests and IQ test and all. And then story writing test and word association test and situation reaction test. Story writing known as thematic appreciation test. On a screen, you will see a picture for 30 seconds or 1 minute, and you go to write a story on that. 10 such stories you have to write. Then word association test. They'll flash a word, English word on the screen. You got to make a sentence on that. Then SRT, situation reaction test. These are the psychological part of it. Then there is a group discussion. Then there is a lecturate. They have a cards. They ask you to pull out a card and you read a topic and they give you a minute time to prepare your speech. You go to David talk for 6 minutes. And if you have preparation is not 1 day. Preparation for anything is long process. Long process. And then there are outdoor, the physical exercises. Then there is a one-to-one president interview. You got to excel at every stage. That you can only excel if you have kept yourself updated with what is happening around you. I remember, I would like to specifically tell you, my group discussion, we were 22 boys in an open lawn. There are 2 officers who were there to assess you. He said, okay, gentlemen, the group discussion topic today is Jayaprakash Narayan's agitation. Speak for and against. In 73-74, Jayaprakash agitation was a very big thing in India. Very, very big moment in India. Jayaprakash was a leader. And he had led a very big event. 22 boys sitting, other than me, nobody knew what is JP's agitation. I was a student leader in my college. I used to deliver talks on this topic. When 2 officers sitting who were there to judge you, they say, okay, speak for and against Jayaprakash Narayan's agitation. I started from very beginning, from where the JP's agitation started, how it is spread, what is the aim, what is the fundamentals. When I spoke for 5 minutes, then other 20 boys came to know what is the topic. So they said, they got up, because everybody has to be assessed. 2 officers sitting, they realized that other than this boy, nobody knows about this topic. He said, okay, sorry gentlemen, this topic has been one-sided. Only 1 boy knows about it. For the benefit of others, I am giving another topic. So he gave another topic. Another topic was academic. Should family planning be made compulsory in India? On that, I had won a debate in my college. So I had the census data 61, 51, 61, 71. I started on, so those 2 officers conducting this test tapped me from behind. They said, son, you need not speak. You've spoken enough. If you are a bundle of talent, you know everything. You're so confident. And being confident is really enjoying. While talking, I'm enjoying.
Yes, sir.
While talking, because you have the knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, you will suffer from complex, you will withdraw. I tell young boys and girls, be outstanding. In whatever field you choose, be outstanding.
Instead of taking a step back, we should learn to step forward on our own. Sir, what would your favorite activity during school or college time? Like you have already told you had interest in general knowledge, but other than that, if you had any favorite activity during your school or your college?
My school college days, I was a debater. I used to take part in essay competitions. I used to win English essay and English essay competitions. As I told you, oratory was my forte. I could address lakhs and lakhs of people. I attended World Youth Conference in Pune, where I was invited to Laos when I was just 18 years old. And the world audience, they did not tell me what is the topic. They called me on the stage and speak. I spoke. That is one. And academically, I was not very strong. I was a mediocre, but then I compensated it by my. I was my college NCC senior under officer. I'm a college debate champion. I was a average sports person. Used to take part in athletics, and it is some total of the personality.
You had been an all-rounder in different fields.
Jack of all.
Yes, sir. And so, what had been your favorite genre of music, presently or during the past? Your favorite genre of music?
Music.
Yes, sir.
Music. I love to listen to old classic, and especially Pakistani. Mehdi Hasan is my favorite, and I listen to him. And in India, I listen to Lata and Munkesh.
Any favorite works by them? Which are your favorite?
Like Mehdi Hasan, Pyar Bhare Do Sharmile Nain. I listen time and again. Pyar Bhare Do Sharmile Nain. Listen to it. Something.
I'll surely look forward to listen to it. So, any more words like we have you would like to give to the audience, to our youth, or whatever you feel would inspire them? Not even inspire, whatever they should know and how they can improve in whatever they want to do. Your general words to them.
Whenever I'm called upon in the school and colleges, I always end up saying Vivekanand's famous 2 lines. Uttisthit Jagrat Prapya Varani Bodhat. Fix your aim, rise awake, and rest not till you achieve your goal. Set your goal. Unfortunately, many of our young boys and girls do not have goals. Uttisthit Jagrat Prapya Varani Bodhat. उठो जागो और लक्ष्य प्राप्ति तक आगे बढ़ते रहो. जो भी और society will assign you many tasks. Today you are a son or a daughter to your parents. You are a brother or sister to your brothers and sisters. Tomorrow you will become some officer or something. You will lead a team. Excel in whatever field you do, whatever role society assigns you, whether as a son and daughter, whether you are a brother or sister, whether you are a colleague, whether you are a subordinate, whether you are a boss. Excel and be very honest. I want to emphasize on this. Be very honest. Honest in everything that you do. Honest in your relationship. Honest in your working. Honest in your studies. Honest in your profession. I used to say in my army life, even if you ask me to clean shit, I will do better than others. All these things are nowadays to discipline a person, we have the method of punishment and reward. If you do well, you will be rewarded. If you do bad, you will be punished. I do not follow this principle. Your excellence should come from within. If by your threat of punishment or lure of a reward motivates you, no. You should be motivated from within. And I'm telling you, I feel it in my life. The happiest persons are your parents when they see you successful. When I came from academy, when I wore my uniform, my father had tears in his eyes. He said, yes, this boy, gada tha lekin. So make your friends feel pride. Make your peer group feel pride of your association. लोगों को लगना चाहिए ये मेरा दोस्त है यार, ये मेरा बंदा है ना. That is what it is.
And sir, as you said about punishment and rewards, they're just temporary things because they would not completely.
If you are doing something by fear of punishment or by lure of reward, okay, that is part of the system. But if you are motivated from within, yes, I will do it, irrespective of punishment or reward. And at the end, I just want to tell one thing. To lead a good and successful life, it's very satisfying. Very satisfying. It reflects on your face. If you are a good human being, if you're a successful human being, it will reflect on your face. If you are a man with negative thoughts, with shirking responsibilities, it will show you on your face. It will show you on your face.
I'm sure there will be many who will surely be motivated by our words today and will try it to get better, to get on the front foot. And I'm sure many people
I wish my Sunbeam is one of the outstanding institution in Banaras, and we have the best of boys and girls. They are doing well, but I wish them that they should fix their higher goals and achieve, and it will help them. It will improve their own personality. When tomorrow you get married, you will be parents, you will be somebody life partner. They should feel proud of.
We get a kickstart.
They should feel proud of. If you are a girl, get married to a boy, the boy should get married. Yeah, I have got married to a, and same way, वैसे was. So it is very satisfying to be a good human being. It's very satisfying. Good and successful. One must strive.
Same, yes. So thank you so much for your time today. I'm sure people are going to like watching this interview. Thank you so much for your time.
It has been pleasure. It has
Jai
been
Hind,
pleasure.
sir.
Jai Hind.
Thank you,
It has
sir.
been pleasure.